Go.
Today's preschool lesson was developed very easily on an Intelliboard by Numonics using virtual whiteboard software. Today's lesson is to count how many birds, to sequence numbers, and also in association. The lesson would start with asking the class, "How many birds do we see, class?" And the class would respond with the answer 1 and finding the appropriate numeral to put with the bird so it's very clear to the entire class that that's one bird. The teacher would then move on and add a second bird. And then ask the class, "How many birds, class?" And the class would respond with 2, and they would pick the 2 from the bottom and move it up so they have a visual representation of 2 birds. The teacher easily moves along and now adds a third bird, and would then ask the question, "How many birds now, class?" And the answer, of course, would be 3, and the teacher or the student would put the number 3 next to the birds for visual recognition. The teacher would then add a 4th bird and ask the same question, and the answer, of course, would be 4, and they would move the number 4 up to where the 4 birds are. And finally, the class would end with the 5th bird, and for this one, we'll take a bird from here and ask the class, "How many birds?" And the teacher would count them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then pick up the number 5 and move it so that everyone would agree that it was 5 birds. Now that is a lesson, but this virtual whiteboard page gives you the ability to do several other lessons as well. So we'll just move the number down here, and the next lesson would be to sequence the numbers 1 through 5. The children already know what they are, and easily the student would come up and bring across number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, and finally number 5. Another simple lesson using the same virtual whiteboard page, but there's still one more exercise that can be done, and that would be an association. And as you can see, there are different birds on this page. So we'll move the numbers out of the way, and we will ask the class, "Can you identify how many different birds there are, and should we put them together?" So let's start with this blackbird. So we can take this blackbird and let's find another blackbird. There's another one here, and here's a third, and here's another one. And are there any more blackbirds on the page, class? And the answer is yes, and the 4th one is here. Now we would ask the class, "How many birds are there?" And the answer would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we would put the number 5 there. Now let's look at the other birds. Here's a green bird. Let's see if we can find other birds that look like this one. There's one up there in the upper right-hand corner. Click on it and move it here. And here is another one. Now the teacher would ask the same thing. "How many birds are there, class?" And oh, there's another one. There's one more. Now how many birds are there? Well, there are 1, 2, 3, 4. So the class has now identified and clustered those birds together, and there's one remaining. How many birds are there that look like this? There's 1, and there's a second one, and a third one, and now we would ask the class, "How many birds are there?" 1, 2, 3, pick up the appropriate number, 3, to reinforce it. So in one virtual whiteboard page, we've now taught 4 lessons to preschool. Thank you.